Now that we're in the kicking vein, let's talk about Brett Kern getting fucked. Can we?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Brett Kern, longtime punter for the Tennessee Titans. I got a chance to watch him work for a long time. I learned from Brett Kern. I tried to mimic Brett Kern, some of the things he did. Not my entire motion or punt, but what he did whenever he catches snaps. He used to like lock in like you were almost pulling back the trigger of a gun. Mm-hmm. Okay, he just pulls that thing back or whatever. Hammer lock, the hammer of a gun. He kind of had that, so I wanted to mimic because he was a robot. So whenever he got signed to the Eagles, I'm like, of course, they get one of the greats of all time. Brett Kern, one of the greatest of all time, had a poster on the side of the Tennessee Titans Stadium. Only like 6 players get it. Brett Kern was one of them because of how fucking good he was at punting. I guess he just chilled and didn't want to join any other team. He lost out to a rookie who was obviously much cheaper and murders the football down there. So Brett Kern goes to Philadelphia. I was excited for the Philadelphia Eagles and for Brett Kern because this is a team that can go on a run. And in the NFC Championship, Brett Kern is the latest victim of positionism. Bullshit. These refs, these production companies, these networks hate kickers and punters. They want to abolish you from the game. Mm-hmm. They get commentators to talk about how dumb kicking is, how dumb punting is. Get rid of the extra point. Get rid of the kickoff. Get rid of the punt. Now they disguise it in the vein of safety and players' health, but they don't go out against Thursday night games. They don't go out against other things that are certainly discouraging for players' health. They hate kickers and punters. We can all agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only time you're getting run on any highlight is when the highlight's happening against you. Okay? Punt return, against you. Going to be on a highlight. You pinning somebody at the 1, never going to be on a highlight, never going to be talked about. Networks always want to bury you. Now, there's a physical altercation between a football and a SkyCam cable just because they wanted to take Brett Kern down a couple of notches.
Come on.
Fox and the crew that runs this SkyCam heard about that poster that's on the side of the Tennessee Titans Stadium. They heard that Brett Kern was popular. They heard that Brett Kern was a game changer, and they said, not on the biggest stage. We're going to fucking kill you. How are you going to be able to kill a punter? They said, we're going to do something nobody's ever done before. We're going to purposely get our SkyCam cable in the direct trajectory of the punt, break it up, and make it look like he shanked it off the side of his foot. Same. Well, job well done, Fox. Hope you're happy. And Hussey said, we weren't able to actually see, which is very fair.
Yeah, it was tough. Very,
very fair. This is really the only thing we have. Let's look at it. Brett Kern is this man right here. He's the guy that has the poster on the side of the stadium down in Tennessee. He hits a ball. Great drop, by the way. Nice short steps. Holds on to the ball almost until his plant foot is down. Younger punters, why don't we look at that? Hold on to the ball a little bit longer. You can control the drop better whenever you do as such. That ball's still touching his hand. He doesn't let go until about right there. And that's incredible for him, okay? Just for you future punters. Then he hits a rocket. Now, it was breezy, so he had to hit it a little bit lower. Look at the trajectory on that ball.
That's a nice spiral.
Nice, tight spiral.
Gorgeous.
You know why it's a nice, tight spiral? Because Brett Kern works his ass off on getting a tight spiral. If you and your friends were to go in the backyard and punt a football, it's not going to be as tight of a spiral as often as Brett Kern because all Brett Kern works on is his drop and his swing to get a nice, fucking tight spiral. You might be able to throw a football, though. When a ball has that tight of a spiral, what's it probably going to do? Turn over. When you hit a fucking nuke like this. Low one. His first punt was a low liner that ended up bouncing into the end zone as opposed to going out of bounds at the 1, which it could have. And then you clearly see that thing stop what it's doing.
Wait a minute.
Turn sideways, and then take a duck, hook, dog leg, left turn directly out of bounds. And then you see this guy, who's probably a part of the special teams team, probably a special teams assistant, or maybe even the special teams coach, immediately go, hey, excuse me. That fucking thing hit something there. And there's another person, saw the same thing, pointing at the SkyCam. And then Brett Kern says, excuse me, hit the sky. Jake Elliott, probably best friends with Brett Kern, punter for the Eagles. he's probably watching the punt because afterwards they're going to talk about the punt on the sideline, about what he did, what he could have done different. Jake probably watching his drop saying, hey, I saw you maybe drop it a little bit because you can help each other during a game. Jake Elliott says, whoa, hey, anybody that was on the field that was watching the ball because it's their job to watch the ball, all pointed up at the SkyCam cable. So that led me to believe it probably hit the SkyCam cable. Now, that thing goes out, very short punt. The Eagles win. Niners weren't able to take advantage of this, but Brett Kern's stats forever affected, and there's probably some Johns over there in Philadelphia who think this guy might stink at punting, but I do believe he was attacked by a SkyCam cable. Not the first, won't be the last, and this is just the most recent addition of positionism happening within the NFL, AJ.
Whoa. Well, I have a couple questions. My first question that just popped into my mind when we started watching that, they told us, last week or 2 weeks ago, we found out that they have chips in all these footballs, right? That track every single movement. What if they dialed up the chip? They said, this thing all of a sudden was traveling at 85 miles an hour and all of a sudden does a left-hand turn and is traveling 32 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Does that give you enough evidence to
Somebody
tell
should
you?
ask Hussey about that.
Yeah. That's right.
I like Hussey as a ref, okay? I like him. I think he's a good ref. I think the way he explains, everybody back to the sidelines. Back to the sidelines, please. Back to your sidelines. Not a bad idea. Let's go voice of God here. Yep. Let's let everybody know what I'm thinking and what they're watching is not what we want to be happening. We're not just going to blow our whistles aimlessly and nobody's listening to. So I think he's good. Now, some of the people on his crew certainly fucked up. Certainly have made mistakes. He's made mistakes, but I think he handles things well. Him saying with certainty we couldn't tell, that's also okay. But I think we should just maybe think about those SkyCams getting the fuck out of the way. Maybe
they're supposed to be. Aren't they supposed to be about right behind the punter and then follow the ball after it goes?
Yeah, and I assume.
But I guess the cables are kind of, I don't know. How many times has this happened?
So I hit one in college. I roll right, punt, rocket, beautiful. Hits that thing, breaks up, loses probably 15 yards, but stays in bounds. I mean, it was still, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still a great ball.
Still went like 40 yards, probably 41 yards. So
it happened this year again.
Me bitching about it, like nobody's watching the ball. Like it's not really something that happens. Commentators sometimes will see the ball. So like, I think there was a chance maybe Olsen could have saved it. Olsen could have been like, I watched it. Nobody's really watching the ball though. You see the punt go, ooh, and then if it hits a little tiny. Those things are supposed to be see-through, right? You're not supposed to see them. It's a tough thing. I wanted to be on the record letting Brett Kern know that.
We know.
You got screwed, Brett. You got screwed.
It was pretty apparent. Was anyone saying no, it didn't hit it?
Hussey.
Yeah. You tweeted it.
Like any fans saying that?
No, I think everybody's on his side. This is just me to leak. You know what I mean?
Why didn't they do the SkyCam angle? Like you asked
just
that
a little bit
question.
of a vibration.
I was going to say you'd assume that, that would always show up on there.
Well, the SkyCam doesn't want to be on the record as being in the way of a game. And these SkyCam people are incredibly talented.
Oh, yeah, no question.
And it has added such a great dynamic to football. Shout out to the first XFL for bringing in SkyCam. I am a SkyCam fan. With that being said, get out of the way. Punter's working.